What's going on, all you shark enthusiasts? It's Shark Week, and of course, these wild carnivores are back to talk more Jaws. We've been talking about this movie all month and summer long, but tonight we're going to be talking about the 3D one. Jaws 3 3D came out in 1983.
Next summer, nature's most terrifying creature takes on an all-new dimension in an all-new adventure. And for the first time, the terror of Jaws will not stop at the edge of the screen. Jaws 3D. The third dimension is terror.
Yes, and we're going to be talking about Dennis Quaid, a young Dennis Quaid playing one of Brody's sons, the main character in the story, which finds a young shark making its way into SeaWorld, where Brody's son is working. Somehow gets in, it follows these, water skiers and is able to get into the park. So the workers at the park at SeaWorld there are trying to take care of it. And what they don't know is the mama shark is following, and it's a 35-foot great white.
For some odd reason, the Brodies can never get away from sharks. And of course, this is 8 years after the original film, by the way. So 1975, 1983. Mike and Sean aged 30 years in 8 years. The first movie, Mike was like 12, and this is, 8 years later. But for Dennis Quaid's like, I don't know, 30s, maybe. I don't know. His brother looked even older, which is his younger brother. So, but you basically summed it up. They're taking the baby shark captivity, dies, and then the mama shark comes after them, and it happens to be the Brodies, and sets up the rest of the film with a lot of ridiculous and laughable scenes, especially with all the shitty 3D effects they have in this movie. This is during the 1980s, early 1980s. The 3D craze is going on with the old 3D glasses at the cinema and everything popping out of the screen. They try to throw that into this movie, just doesn't work.
No, it's the third film in the franchise. We just reviewed part two a long time ago. We didn't really like that one, and this one's even worse. It's got none of the heart of the original. It resembles nothing of Steven Spielberg's movie at this point. Just keeps going farther and farther away, taking away, kind of shitting on the old carcass of the first shark in Jaws 1. But yeah, they're trying to cash in on the 3D craze. There's a lot of scenes that are just blatant 3D for no reason. Like in the beginning when the shark like eats a fish, bites down on the fish, and then you see the fish head like slowly floating, coming closer. And then the titles, the opening titles come at you, and like it has the font that comes off the screen like we used to see all the time in the old 3D stuff. It just looks bad. And it was back in the era where the 3D glasses were the red and blue glasses that you'd get at the theater. I don't know if I'm remembering this wrong or not, but I think that they made the glasses available to watch at home too. But I might be mixing that up with another 3D movie that I remember seeing. But anyways, I remember seeing this movie as a kid and just thinking how bad that shark looked coming through the glass at the end back then. And watching it now, it's just, oh my God, it just looks terrible. The effects and everything just looks so outdated and cheesy at this point. It's hard to get into this movie.
It looked outdated in 1983 when it hit cinemas. I mean, Joe Alves, he worked on the original Jaws. He's directed this film, and he just cannot do underwater 3D effects at all. It is just so obvious how bad it looks. Yeah, watching this on Peacock recently, where it's streaming, just the effects look god awful. And I remember watching this on VHS, maybe early 90s, and it was bad back then. So it doesn't hold up at all. It looks like a big like puppet or doll in front of a green screen. It just doesn't flow like a shark. It doesn't swim. It's just like floating, and the nose hits it and it cracks, and it's so ridiculous. And them trying to fight off the shark and survive, it's just ridiculous. But the one saving grace of this movie is Louis Gossett Jr., Calvin Bouchard. He was like the SeaWorld manager. He gave it his all. He's always fantastic in everything he's in, but the rest of the cast pretty forgettable. Bess Armstrong, she played the mom in My So-Called Life back in the 90s. She was the girlfriend. Right. Yeah, she was in this. And then the brother that played Sean Brody was John Putch. He always played like a bad guy in most movies. But Leah Thompson was in this, a very young Leah Thompson. And some other people showed up along the way. But overall, just a very forgettable sequel. A movie I won't rewatch anytime soon.
Just not good in any means. One of those movies that just didn't work back in the day. Trying to catch on to the craze of the 3D at the time. And, so I guess somebody enjoyed it out there, but I don't think either of us really enjoyed this movie. And just the impossible plot of, not one, but two great white sharks getting into SeaWorld through these. They think it's going to be a good idea to put these underwater tunnels going into the park, so they can basically see sea life, and basically see how the sharks and predators are in their natural habitat. And then, the sharks are able to swim through the tunnels and get in. And of course, go chomping on some people that are doing water stunts and, showing off in the big tanks of that. So it's just, yeah, it looks ridiculous. The plot's ridiculous. Louis Gossett Jr., he's great. He's basically playing the mayor role in this as the owner, and he's like, no, we're not going to close it down, we're going to keep this going and have fun. And he kind of dismisses the threat of the shark, and all that. And so they recycled that obviously from the first couple movies with that character. Dennis Quaid, it was cool seeing him all young, one of his very first roles, I believe. And like you mentioned, he's probably, if he's early 30s, I'd imagine here. And, Louis Gossett Jr. was playing the old wise man in this, but he wasn't very wise. He's just the same corporate guy who's a prick and just wants to keep business going, even though people are dying. Nothing new in this film, nothing worth revisiting for me here. I watched it on Peacock, and I'm not looking forward at all to watching Jaws 4.
The revenge.
But at least we get to see like Mario Van Peebles with dreadlocks and Michael Caine. I want to hear him say I want to hear him say something ridiculous about the shark. And then Brody's wife's back, of course, the same actress. So that'll be at least those couple things I'll be looking forward to. But I just remember that movie being terrible too, with Jaws like biting the helicopter out of the air.
Yeah,
and, it's just,
that's the famous scene. Yeah, it goes down as one of the worst movies ever made. So that'll be a fun one to rewatch and review.
Yeah, for sure. But with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and give Jaws 3 3D. I'll give it a 2 out of 5 Dennis Quaid hair pieces.
Yeah, I have to agree with you on that, my man. It's a pretty low score for me. Loving the original, second one, didn't care for it. This is even worse. So that being said, I'm going to give Jaws 3D a 2 out of 5 Louis Gossett Jr. hair pieces. So I want to hear from all you rascals out there and shark lovers. What did you like about Jaws 3D? What didn't you like about it? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to click subscribe. Also, check out these wild carnivores on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, or I should say X, and our website, cinefellas.com, for the latest, greatest TV, movie news and reviews.
We'll be back very soon to review Jaws, The Revenge, coming to you live from the Caribbean with Uncle Mario Van Peebles. So until the next Cinefellas Jaws review, I'm Uncle Henry Brody.
And I'm Logan Kane, signing out until the next Jaws review. Cheers! Dun, 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 dun.